Hello everyone, my name is Heather and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing a Top 5 Wednesday video, as you can see from the title. And if you are unfamiliar with Top 5 Wednesday, it is organized by Sam over at Thoughts on Tomes, and I'm going to link her channel as well as the Goodreads group down below for topics. So the topic for today is books from before you joined Booktube, or not necessarily Booktube, but maybe like your book blog or like Bookstagram, that kind of thing. So anyway, the first one is A Great and Terrible Beauty by Libba Bray. So I read this back in high school, I believe, and I loved this trilogy so much. I felt like it was amazingly written. It was so kind of like magical, but also like girl power. And of course, I was obsessed with books that had like covers with like girls who had corsets and, you know, that kind of thing, because it kind of gives you an idea like, oh, this takes place in the past, and like, ooh, pretty dresses and stuff. So I loved that, but it was just like, it got really intense too. Like at the very beginning of the first book, the girl's mom dies like insanely violently, and you're like, what is happening? And it just grabs you from the get-go. And of course there's a romance and just a great group of girls who come together, and I don't know, it's so good. And I really like, no one talks about it on Booktube at all. There are books that I'm going to talk about that are still talked about to this day on Booktube, but I read them before Booktube. But yeah, I highly recommend you guys read that. It's so different. I guess not so, I mean, okay, it's different. It's pretty different from The Diviners, which is her current series that she has going on. Like, I feel like it's not as complicated. It's more, I don't know, like The Diviners gets pretty complicated, but A Great and Terrible Beauty is just like, it's so good. Number 2 is Outlander by Diana Gabaldon. So I actually read this maybe about 6 months or so, maybe not that long, but the same year I started on Booktube, I started watching Booktube. It was the same year, but it was a few months prior, and I read it at the recommendation of my best friend Rachel, and I'm so glad she recommended it to me because it's still one of my favorite books to this day, and one of my favorite TV shows now. I don't think, was it a TV show when I read it? I definitely hadn't watched the TV show when I read it. This was back in 2015. Had the TV show started? Maybe. I don't know. Or had just started. Anyway, it's just so incredibly good. A woman, like, accidentally time travels back in time to like the 1700s in Scotland, and it's so romantic and intense. Like, it's definitely an adult read. Like, if you are a child, do not read this book. You will learn things that maybe, I don't know if your parents would be okay with you reading, or maybe they would. I don't know your life, but it's so good. I'm so excited for the third season. Okay, calm down. Yeah, if you guys watched the Top 5 Wednesday from the week before last, the second book is Best. I talked about Voyager, which is the third book out of that series, and it's like so good. So anyway, the next book from before I joined Booktube is The Book Thief by Marcus Zuzak. So this is a book that people still talk about a little bit on Booktube, so it's just really good. It's beautifully written. It's so unique because it's the narrator is actually deaf, and it's awesome, like really good. And it follows a little girl who is an orphan, and she's adopted by this family. She doesn't know how to read, but she is very enthralled by reading, and she wants to read, so she actually steals a book that is being burned in Nazi Germany. And so she kind of starts, like, sometimes she'll steal books. That's why it's called The Book Thief. So it centers on her life, and it's just amazing. Like, the ending is amazing. I'm not going to say anything else, because if you haven't read it, I don't want to spoil it for you, but it's so good and you definitely should read it. The next book that I read before Booktube is The Night Circus, and I don't even remember the author's name, to be perfectly honest. It's probably on the book cover that is right here. So this is a book I checked out from the library back in like 2013. It was definitely back in California. It was before I moved to Maryland. Now I'm back in California, but like, yeah. So I started my Booktube channel. I started watching Booktube in 2015 when I was in Maryland. So this was like about a year and a half, maybe 2 years prior to that. So I was immediately intrigued by the cover. I love, you know, black, red, and white, and it seemed really magical and mystical, and I'm really, really into that. Obviously, like, I don't know, you can see, like, I'm really into like magical stuff. Like, it's my jam. So I was just enchanted by this book. It is about a circus that is super magical, and there are two like sorcerers, warlocks kind of thing. I don't remember exactly what they call themselves, but they are rivals, and they have taught their proteges. There's a girl and a boy, and their proteges are kind of like, you know, against each other in a way. I don't know, but it's romantic at the same time, and that's all I really remember. I remember it being really, really good, and I know that Sam also loves the night circus. It's amazing. And the fifth one that I'm going to talk about, it's kind of hard. It was hard for me to come up with these because I was kind of going through my Goodreads, and I didn't really start putting books into my Goodreads until a few months before I joined Booktube. So it was hard for me to kind of remember books from before I joined Booktube, and I didn't want to bring out like a book from my childhood because I feel like that I've talked about books from my childhood before. But anyway, I'm gonna talk about The Hunger Games because I read The Hunger Games because I think it was my friend Liz from college who recommended them to me, and she let me borrow them freshman year of college. So I mean, they're intense. Like, I really enjoyed them. So yeah, I mean, but of course, like, everyone knows The Hunger Games, and I think The Hunger Games predates Booktube. I don't really know when Booktube became a thing, but a lot of people read The Hunger Games before they joined Booktube, just like Harry Potter. Like, I didn't want to mention Harry Potter. Where's Harry Potter? Right here, because I feel like that probably also would have been on a lot of people's lists. Obviously, it's a series from my childhood that kind of also went into high school. So I grew up with Harry Potter, as many of us did. But I didn't want to, I mean, I already mentioned it, but it's not technically part of my list of 5 books. That is it for this video. If you did this topic, definitely let me know in the comments section, or you can just answer the topic in the comments, whatever you want to do. If you liked it, if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel for more Top 5 Wednesday videos. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. This is a weird way to sign off, but yeah, bye.